Ladies and gentlemen, at the height of his fame, Raymond Massey was considered, pound for pound, one of the best Canadian actors of the post-silent film generation into the 1950s and 60s. But by the time he got on Night Gallery, his force of acting had kind of faded. But still very effective in this episode. For a lot of people, it's a miss, but for me, it's a hit, no pun intended. In this one, a tyrannical big game hunter forces his son to make a clean kill or lose his substantial inheritance in the season 1 episode Clean Kills and Other Trophies. Now, written in a heavy-handed form by Rod Serling, who said in published reports he would like to see the denouement involve a decapitation. It was directed by Walter Doninger, with Raymond Massey as Colonel Dittman, Tom Troop as Pierce, Barry Brown, who was very ineffective in this episode, we'll get that in a second, as Archie Jr., and the great underrated Herb Jefferson Jr. as a very, very, what we call spiritual person, Tom Maboya. Now, Colonel Dittman explains to his dinner guests, family attorney Jeffrey Pierce, played by Tom Troop, that his butler Tom is quite a specimen and a pagan savage because he still carries amulets and fervently believes in black magic. Tom is one of many things, and the only living thing the Colonel has brought back from Africa. The walls of his study are filled with the stuffed and mountain heads, the game he has killed, his trophies, kind of a throwback to Ernest Hemingway. Now, Pierce is there to discuss Dittman's son's inheritance. Archie Jr. has just graduated college and does not share his father's passion for hunting. The Colonel wants to modify the legal documents so that his son must kill an animal by himself and win within 15 days or will receive no money. The Colonel clearly despises his son, whom he views as an unmanly coward, a dish of jelly consomme as he refers to him. Apparently no one calls Archie Dittman Jr. jelly consomme because the latest in a long monologue of insults delivered by the father spurs the son to grab a loaded rifle and point it at his father, only to have Tom knock the barrel away. Now, Pierce takes Archie Jr. aside and tells him he could sue his father for this highly unusual legal document modification and could win. But his son actually has a bit of admiration for his father as a kind of prototypical 20th century man. He's a whole lot closer to the norm than I'll ever be, Archie Jr. says, and grudgingly agrees to go on a deer hunt the next morning. Now, Pierce wonders why Tom has remained with sadistic Colonel for so many years, and Tom explains he has stayed to protect the son. The Colonel wants to give him his manhood, but he will strip him of that if he gives him a gun and makes him use it. Tom has concluded. Tom explains to Pierce that growing up in Africa, he killed for food, to live, for spirituality, and never for pleasure. That night, Tom prays to his gods for the hunter to know what it's like to be the victim. Now, in the woods the next morning, the Colonel spots a deer in the clearing. Kind of similar to the Waltons episode where I think they have to shoot something to become a man or something. I think it was, anyway, I don't know which one it was. He was either John Boy or Little Ben or whatever. Now, he explains to his son how to shoot a rifle and where to aim. And when Archie Jr. is slower than the Colonel would like, as far as pulling the trigger, the elder Dittman loses his patience, shouts, "Shoot! What are you waiting for?" and hits, bumps, not a clean kill, which will require them to track the deer for hours before finally finishing it off. Back home, the Colonel is apoplectic, despite the fact that he bumped his son when it was time to shoot, causing the misfire. In the study with Tom, the Colonel's head begins to get warm, dead hot. He asks Tom to open the window. Now, Tom leaves the study and finds Pierce, who is looking for the Colonel. Tom warns Pierce not to enter the study, but Pierce doesn't heed the warning and leaves the study as quickly as he entered it, looking shocked. "Dear gods, Mr. Pierce, gods of the bush, of the Congo, of the rainforest, and with them, vengeance is an art." As Pierce and Arthur Jr. leave, we re-enter the study, and a camera comes up to reveal the latest trophy mounted on the wall, the head of the Colonel, Archie Dittman. Now, according to David Jewell's blogspot on this episode, this is a strong, if heavy-handed Serling script, solidly directed by Doninger. Raymond Massey, for many, is perhaps a bit long but what he may lack in terms of physical intimidation factor makes up for projecting a stateful, cruel man. Now, the big problem with the episode for a lot of people, including myself, is that the role of Archie Jr. is not acted successfully. Jules said this is the detriment of the episode. Brown is not giving many lines, which may have helped, but in the opening scene where Massey dresses the kid down as basically being a wimp, that's basically how he seems. One can sympathize with this twist being added to his ability to inherit his father's fortune, but Brown is not able to make us empathize. Still, to Jewel, a fine episode with a macabre ending. Now, again, Jeff Bridges, Randolph Matute, who was in class of 99, someone else of that, what they call the young Hollywood, even if it was a black father like George Stanford Brown would be good. But the problem is, Raymond Massey had 1/10 of the power he had, and most of the movies Massey was in, it was a hero. Through the years, Young Mr. Lincoln and all that. No, excuse me, I apologize. I'm getting confused for a second. Anyway, he played a lot of big roles. Raymond Massey was, again, one of the best method actor. You look at East of Eden and different stuff. More violent ending to the episode, like there was thoughts about the son kind of decapitating the father and putting the head on the wall. But in this one, it was the protector of the son. And the biggest plot hole is, why did he do this before? If he was haranguing his son for all these years, why would the protector only step in now? Where he could have done it in the past? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's some of our more Season 1 podcasts we haven't done before. And John Walco and the different supporters of the channel who asked for Night Gallery podcast, we really appreciate you. Don't forget, we should set a date if Night Gallery comes to Canada in either the former syndication free of charge or whatever. We should set a Night Gallery day in Canada, no pun intended, to basically pick the best 10 episodes and basically run them. I think Night Gallery is still very underrated for people who haven't seen it before. A lot of people didn't like to watch Twilight Zone because some of the episodes, again, weren't in the best black and white vision. When he got later, it was a little bit better in black and white. But a lot of people don't like the Twilight Zone because it's black and white. I heard there was a plan to colorize the old Twilight Zone episodes, but they backed off. But where else are you going to see Night Gallery? Some of the last performances of Mickey Rooney in major shows like this, TV shows, and Raymond Massey and all these people. Kim Hunter was around. So there's always a specialist, older actor or nearly old actor. But can you imagine if Robert Blake was on a show, or Peter Falk? It'd be tremendous. I have a great plot for a Night Gallery episode. Robert Blake plays a fisherman, okay, get this, that he's an oyster fisherman, but he hides. He wants to be a pearl, and he prays to whatever, and he becomes a pearl and an oyster, and it ends up like a comic skit where he's around a beautiful woman's neck, where he always wanted to be, or something like that. Something out of the way. Like, Night Gallery had 5 basic plots: fighting against death, trying to sustain life. There was an aspect of many episodes of Satanism, basically resolution, and what they call good revenge or bad revenge. Night Gallery is not for the psychologically disturbed. You got to be of a good mind to watch Night Gallery, because episodes like the cemetery, episodes like the Dead Man, episodes like the Caterpillar, can really freak you out. Cemetery, of course, my apologies, and Eyes, and Escape Route or Escape Clause. Anyway, pretty bizarre. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the latest on Night Gallery podcast. If you like what you're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe. Bye.